Okay, we're live again. This is, you know what? I can finally say this is the second ever episode 56 of Super Deformed Gamescast. It's right here. I'm keeping an eagle eye on YouTube to see if, there we go. All right, now it works. And of course, we lost all the viewers we had. So everybody tweet this out. Get people back in here. Once again, we are live with episode 56 of the Super Deformed Gamescast, and now we are live. Everybody can see us. Everything's fine. It's great. Yep, we're live now. It's awesome. And Susan from Games Radar gave a very, very lovely introduction, and nobody fucking heard it.
It's
because we lost it.
It's a time in history.
Yeah, it's lost into either now. So I won't ask you to do that again, Susan. All I will say is Susan Arndt is the executive editor of GamesRadar.com, a very, very awesome website. I get a lot of reviews from there. And Susan, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for wrestling with Google.
It's lovely. You say now it's lovely to be here. We'll see what you think by the end of the podcast. So anyway, we have, as you guys can see, we have a full house tonight, and we'll go right down the list. As always, Brandon is here. Brandon's very excited tonight.
Super excited.
He's had a good day, and he's going to tell you why he's had a good day in a minute. JT has taken time from moving to visit us and spend some time with us. So
my move day got pushed back, so I'm here. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and I think this is the third week in a row. You and After Hours Jeff have been on at the same time.
I know, this is ridiculous. We can't have this.
This is a bad habit. This is bad news. Jeff, what's up, man? Okay, Jeff, fuck you too. And we have the calmest man in video games, Steve. What's up, man?
What's going on?
It's like clockwork.
What's going on,
I feel like I could shoot you in the knee, and you'd be like, all right, that's fine. You'd be like an NPC in Skyrim. You'd just be like, yeah, whatever.
Hey.
Or the hero.
There you go. Oh, I'm sorry to all our European viewers, all three of you. And we have two guests tonight. Rand Althor 19, the man with the million gamer score on Xbox Live. Thank you for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for inviting me once again, John.
I know, right? Yeah, we need a little Xbox representation on this show.
Yeah, considering you don't have an Xbox, so you can never join Xbox parties, but whatever.
I'm all in on Scorpio Day 1, man.
You need to join the Xbox Club, the official Xbox Club.
Yeah, Rand, we've got a community on Xbox now.
I don't think I'm in any of our clubs except the PSN one.
Join
the Jeff is not a member of the
Xbox Club.
I don't even know why you joined. Get off it.
That's pathetic, Jeff. Fix that.
Don't come back until you join our PSN group.
About them.
And we also have Enrique from our sister podcast, Basement Radio Arcade. What's up, man?
What is going on, everyone? I'm excited to be on my second favorite podcast.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Favorite. What's your first favorite?
Well, mine. But
anyway,
as a close second to TXR too, by the way. That's also one of my other favorites.
Yeah, TXR is not bad. Maka's a good guy.
Yeah, and I just want to say, Rand is not the only guy that owns an Xbox on this podcast. I'm an Xbox owner as well, so just throw that out there.
So we have to put up with all these PS4 heathens.
I also own a PS4, though.
Jeff is
my PS4 isn't even plugged in right now.
Yeah, Brandon and Jeff are more PC elitist master race kind of guys.
Yeah.
I've been playing mostly on PS4 this generation. But
what happened to House Neutral?
I bounce back and forth. They have their strengths.
Yeah,
I like trophies. That's the only reason I play on PS4 because I like trophies. I played on 360 last gen because I liked achievements. I don't know. It's just
same here. Exact same here.
There's nothing worse than Steam achievements.
Steam achievements are the worst.
There's not even a sound that plays when they pop.
There's not even.
You don't even notice them.
All you need is that if they added the sound effect, I would probably just play games on PC.
A little
it's
jingle.
It should just be a sound clip of fireworks saying you're the best.
And I want to see percentages of completion.
Like achievement unlocks. Praise Gaben.
All right.
What I do like about the Xbox One achievements now is that they show you like your progress towards each individual one. Like that PS4 should have that.
Yeah, they have a tracking system since it came out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is nice.
The rare achievements are nice.
Not when half of your overall achievements are all rare. Not so rare then.
Enough of this talk of trophies and achievements, because we got to talk about what we're playing this week, guys. Otherwise, it's going to be a long show. So what we're going to do is we will start actually with our guest, Susan. Brandon, I think it's the first time Brandon has ever been on and not talked about what he's playing first. but we're gonna start with first. So, Susan, what are you playing this week?
Right now, I'm switching between Destiny because it's the Festival of the Lost, and Halloween is my absolute favorite holiday. So I'm collecting all the Halloween stuff. Excellent. And Dragon Quest Builders, which I was playing on beta to start with, and I got into not pretty far into it, but pretty well into the second chapter, and then I decided I was tired of having to constantly charge my Vita because I would play it for 8 hours straight and then be like, God damn it, and have to go plug in the Vita. So I bought the PS4 version and started over from scratch because there's no cross save, which sucks. But
tell me about it.
I found a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't find the first time through, so it's actually kind of a good thing. So yes,
Such a great fucking game.
It's so good.
It is so good.
Yeah,
I'm playing the demo right now, and I definitely want to buy the full game. Did you notice any performance upgrades between the Vita? Because I noticed it hitched a little bit. It's kind of
the visuals are going to be better on your PS4. They are the same exact game, so it's the same exact content, the same exact everything. But visually speaking, it's going to be nicer on your PS4. For me, the big thing was it's just plain easier to see because there's a day-night cycle in the game, and very much like Minecraft. And on the Vita, it's just you kind of just have to stay in one spot because you just can't see anything.
Right.
And you can walk off a cliff, you can drown, you can do all that stuff.
The blacks are so dark from the OLED screen.
Yeah, exactly. So I find that a lot of the game is about exploration. You portal into these different islands, and you want to look around and find all the hidden stuff. And I can just get my bearings a lot better on the PS4 version on my nice, great big TV.
Cool. I'm disappointed to hear that it doesn't have cross save though. I thought that was a shoe-in.
Nope.
It seems like a huge missed opportunity.
I know, it's weird. It's really weird.
It's not cross-buy either, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, because the PS4 version is full priced and the Vita version is $39.
Cross-buy has kind of gone out the window for anything not indie games recently. That's a trend that I've been noticing. That was one of the best things about the Vita whenever it came out, is because you could buy one version of it, like Sound Shapes. You got so many. You got the PS3, PS4, and Vita all in one.
Yeah.
It's that's great.
And if you had the
whatever you want,
when you loaded up your save, it would just sync, and you get 3 platinum trophies.
yeah, that too.
Yo, I got the platinums for Sound Shapes on each system without cheating them.
Sure.
I will always
That
love
game
my
is good. I enjoyed playing it.
my Vita is never more than a foot from me.
Nice.
Never more than a foot from me.
I'm
Susan,
fully
anything else?
team handheld right here, baby. Yeah.
Destiny, Dragon Age. I just finished Rusty Lake Roots, which, if you are not familiar with the Rusty Lake series, it is perfect for Halloween. I highly recommend it. Creepy as fuck. Truly messed up. It's messed up. But it's in a way that the graphics are very Edward Gorey-esque. So it's, even though the game is messed up, it's safe enough to play sitting next to your mom, your little cousin, someone on an airplane, because it's not super detailed or anything.
Kind of like when I'm playing Weibo games and my mom walks in. There's not going to be a situation like that, right?
The latest Send Me Kagura.
No,
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, she might be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you'll say, "Oh, I'm trying to solve a puzzle." "Oh, what's the puzzle?" "I'm trying to figure out how to shove my young nephew down a well." That is the kind of shit you do in Rusty Lake.
After that, your mother calls a psychiatrist and.
Yeah, really.
Not mine. She just goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. Your nephew's kind of a dick." But in the first Rusty Lake game, Rusty Lake Hotel, you invite 5 anthropomorphic animals to your hotel, and then figure out how to kill each of them.
Nice.
And serve them for dinner.
That sounds
great.
This sounds like if David Fincher directed a Pixar movie.
It's awesome. Seriously, they're so good. Cannot recommend them enough.
Kind of like that reminds me of the Seventh Guest. That was basically the plot.
Bit, yeah. Like if the 7 or like what was that game? It was My Jam. Tecmo's Deception. for the original.
That game was good.
Oh, Deception.
That was good. That was good.
Oh,
All right.
I just looked this up. It's by the people who did Cube Escape.
Yeah,
Playing on
exactly.
iOS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I saw that earlier. I'll have to give that a shot.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that. Brandon, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you today, man, because I know you're dying to talk about it.
I'm still just playing Overwatch, but
God damn.
Overwatch with a twist.
It's killing this podcast.
People in
You're lucky JT wasn't on when he was deep in the grip of his Rocket League addiction.
That's
Oh,
true.
no.
Oh no! You go back in the episodes, dude. Like John just wouldn't let me talk about it.
He's actually
Okay.
still there.
Rocket League next.
Overwatch people are like CrossFit.
Can I ask Brandon a question
Like
about
CrossFit.
Overwatch?
Yeah.
Have you actually done the limited time event horde mode they got on there?
Yeah, I played a bunch of it, a few hours of it.
Have you? What do you think of it? Do you think it's a test run to see if they can actually have some sort of
Yeah.
mode down the road?
I mean, there's actually been rumors of like a full new mode, a new PvE horde mode added that's like more substantial than this Halloween one, and it'll be a permanent. But I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going
Battleborn
to
did
happen.
PvE better.
It probably did. I mean, but Overwatch doesn't even have PvE. They just have this 3-week-long horde mode thing.
I think
Neither of them have Duke.
Did you get
Yeah.
the trophy or achievement for
Yeah,
beating it on hard?
I did on PS4.
Excellent.
Not on PC. Because for some reason PC people suck more. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I got really
They're the
I-
best race.
Real
I
game.
got
Be the
really
best.
lucky with the randoms that I got matched up with on PS4, and I did it. And then I tried it again on PC, and we just could never do it.
So, what is different about playing Overwatch for you now, Brandon?
I bought a new monitor.
Oh shit! What kind of monitor?
It is 144 hertz.
Oh my
Hey.
goodness!
It's
So-
just a regular old 1080p 24-inch, but it runs at 144 frames, and it's sexy as fuck.
Now your tweet makes sense to me now.
You see what I'm saying? They're like CrossFit people.
I don't really know anything about CrossFit. I don't even know what that means.
It's not a compliment.
All of my friends are into CrossFit, and it is like the worst thing for your friends to be into.
As somebody who is very much into fitness, don't fucking do CrossFit.
Exactly.
Oh.
Garbage. It's the best way to like. And all jokes aside, that is the like if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I really want to fuck my body up beyond repair today. Like, go out and do some CrossFit. It'll fuck you right up.
I love the gif of the person doing like the bar things that they do, and it's like there's a counter on the bottom. It's like pull-ups, and it's like
I've seen that,
0,
I've seen that.
0,
Zero,
0,
yeah,
0.
exactly.
It's like that's not a pull-up.
Yeah, John, that's how like it was in the Marines when
In
you
the
get up
Marine
on the
Corps.
bar. You got the staff sergeant there like counting. He's like, that's one, that's
one.
one, that's
One.
still one.
Yeah, you're like, God damn it, Staff Sergeant, come on. Brandon, I don't even know if I want to ask or not, but what else are you playing this week? Yeah.
Okay.
Says it all.
Shit, it's gonna change when Final Fantasy 15 comes out.
Yeah, dude. No, I got that pre-ordered. I'm putting Overwatch aside.
I just want to point out, it's gonna be a 90+ on meta.
We'll see, baby.
I'm a believer.
I hope so.
I'm a
It'd be
believer,
great.
baby. I'm a believer. That shit looks amazing.
Looks so good.
So good.
Yeah.
JT, all right, what are you playing, man? Actually, have you played anything?
Yeah, I've taken breaks from packing. I've played a little bit of Rocket League, like I do every week. I don't think there's been a week since it's been released that I haven't played. I think, yeah, I haven't gone longer than maybe 2 weeks is like the max. But other than that, a little bit of Battlefield 1, and that's just like frustrating me lately. I was playing with Matt 1.
Matt won.
Since we have 2 Matts on the podcast now.
Yeah, we got a new pod. Yeah, we'll talk about our new member in a minute.
Right. I hopped in one of his games and won.
Wait, what did?
I think he got dropped.
That was amazing.
That face. And he's got his mattress up on his wall, by the way.
Wow.
Oh
There
my
it goes.
God. That is JT,
All right.
do you see your frozen face at the bottom?
Oh, okay, there's 2 JTs now.
All right.
Google is on a roll tonight, my friend.
This is
Yeah, my
amazing.
entire stuff just crashed. All right, cool.
Just go for it. Go for it. Keep going.
Gosh, I lost my train of thought. Battlefield 1. Yeah, there's probably a weird funny picture of me. I'm looking on the YouTube right now.
The YouTube.
The party system is trash. I tried joining in on a match already in progress, and it like ended up freezing me where I couldn't join on Matt. I couldn't join on anybody. So I was just on my own. I was in no squad, and I had to join back. Like whenever I had to respawn, I had to join back all the way back at bumfuck. And you're still laughing at my frozen pictures.
I can't stop looking.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, keep going.
And the biggest thing though is like it feels so strange. It's like the guns don't give you good hit feedback. Like my reticle will be right over somebody, and I miss them for some reason, and I don't know why. In Uncharted 4, where you have like the reticle, and then like you can see within that reticle where your hits are going, and that's like really good feedback, right? In Battlefield, it's like baffling that your shots are missing because it's like I don't know what's going on.
Isn't that meant to be a function of the crappier weapons because they're
maybe
supposed to be authentic to the time?
But I mean, yeah, that could be the what's going on. It's just like it's not high tech, it's not laser beam weapons.
Right. It's like it's just a literal iron sight. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can have optics and stuff on it now. I think people would complain if you couldn't have optics, but it just ends up being more frustrating, I think, than it is realistic or like more in the setting of the game. And it just ends up being frustrating because like I feel like I am underpowered. Like I can't. I'll put 5 shots into a guy, and then he turns around and one shots me, and it ends up being the feedback is just it's strange because you can't like respawn and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this better. It's always something like, wow, that was a bullshit death, and so now I'm just getting more and more frustrated. So yeah, that's been my experience with my limited playtime this week. I'm sure Battlefield will get better over time. I put like 150 hours into Battlefield 4, which is nothing compared to my like 1,000 hours in Rocket League. But
no, I kind of had the same thing, dude. I've been playing, and I'll talk about it later, but I've been playing Battlefield. I cleared all the campaigns, and I remember like firing that bolt action rifle, and I'm thinking to myself, like, as somebody who's fired rounds downrange, in a combat situation, I'm like, I could not have killed anybody with this thing.
Yeah,
this is terrible. Like I can't.
Yeah, dude, I don't even
iron sights. Like I had an ACOG on my M16 when I was in Iraq.
I mean, that's why they call it one shot, one kill, man.
Yeah, I know.
One fucking shot.
I'm using this.
You better fucking kill someone.
Rifle, and I'm like, this is terrible. Like, no wonder so many people died in World War I. Like, you couldn't hit anything. But it's terrible. JT, you playing anything else?
Not really. Oh, Dragon Quest Builders on my Vita. I'm going to be playing a lot of stuff on my Vita and 3DS. I started Yokai Watch 2. I kind of been, hitting those whenever I get like 30 minutes or so. And
have you done Picross? Picross? Yeah, Picross?
No, not yet. I have Pokemon Picross on there, but I'm not a huge Picross person.
Okay, so the first one I ever tried was the new one, the Picross 2, Picross 3D 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which there's a demo for it, if you don't feel like spending the monies on it. And I had never tried it before, and I wasn't sure. But a guy I work with just like raved about it so much, like it was, he loved it more than his child, and it's so good, man.
It's a shame Finneman's not on right now because he'd be eating this up right now.
So do you have like the Pokemon Picross and the Zelda and all that? They have like different themed ones.
Because those are 2D, right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you just like strictly like the 3D.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah. I definitely want to load up my stuff for my travels, so I never run out of things to play. But yeah, in the upcoming weeks, Dragon Quest Builders and Yokai Watch 2.
Awesome. Okay. By the way, Builders is absolutely worth a buy. Spend your money on it. Jeff, what are you playing this week?
What have I been playing this week? Old games because I can't afford new games. No, I've just been playing more Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I think, which I talked about last week.
You talked a little bit about it, but now that you're a week later, what do you think?
Well, I'm a week later and like 1 hour further because I just have no time. So no, it's still some of the same problems creeping back in. The movement is fine when you're kind of like just traversing ground very broadly, but when you try to get into planning assassinations and trying to be really specific or really fine with your movements, it still has all the same problems. You're grabbing onto the things you don't mean to. You're not dropping to the right spot. It's the best it's ever been, but I'm glad that they're hopefully overhauling the whole thing for the next one, because I think this is as far as they could take it in this direction. And I did also pick up the just the first episode of Hitman to try it out. So it comes with the prologue and then the first mission.
You're gonna have to
and it's actually really, really good. I played like 3 hours and I only played the prologue, just kind of the training missions, because there's so many different ways you can approach them, and there's all these different challenges you get for either finding things or dressing up as certain disguises, or eliminating the targets in different ways. But I didn't play the recent Hitmans. Like the last one I played was probably Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, I think, on like
a long time ago.
I was like, that's like what, 12 years ago.
So I can't compare it to the new ones, but it does feel still kind of like that. It feels like what I remembered Hitman feeling like, which I think is what some of the new stuff got away with. And they really kind of seem to respect the player agency. There's a lot of, you can get assistance or tools or kind of guides or objectives if you want them, or you can kind of just go in and do everything on your own and figure it out. But it's really good. And I think the episodic model works really well for it. I've only bought the first episode, but just the way it's laid out, where you're Hitman and their missions, I think it makes sense that he would get one mission and then kind of come back a little while later and do another one. And I also think it's different now because all the episodes are out, but I'm only going to buy them one at a time, because I think it encourages you to kind of replay it, and focus on that one. Whereas if you kind of just had one game and a story just running through the whole thing, I don't think you would approach it that way. I think you'd just be like, you just blast through the whole thing, and some people would go back and do it, but I'm not the kind of person who
It almost feels like Metal Gear Solid 5 could have really benefited from maybe like a model like that.
Absolutely.
Or it's like they just did like a whole bunch of like Ground Zero style things instead of just being like the mess that
Yes, I would love that.
MGS5 campaign was.
Yeah, if Metal Gear Solid 5 was episodic, people would have lost their shit, but it would have been cool if you had like, let's say it's 5 episodes, you had 5 unique areas in the world, and each one was like maybe Ground Zeroes, but way bigger.
Yeah.
And then, and that would probably help them focus the story a bit too and stuff, and the complaints about being repetitive wouldn't be as bad. Because you're not doing 70 hours all in one go. It's broken up into smaller chunks, right?
I feel like and I feel like the episodic model works for certain games. Like Resident Evil Revelations 2 is a great example, I think. Like I felt like, I cleared it every week. I devoted 2 hours every week to it, and it wasn't like waiting for a Telltale episode either, where you're not, like you play it and then you wait for 6 months and something else comes out. The game was done, but they just did it episodically. And they released it piecemeal for 4 or 5 weeks. It was great. I loved it. I cleared each one in a single night, and I can move on and play something else. And I feel like it fit the story really well. That's an interesting idea for Metal Gear Solid 5. It's interesting to think about what might have been different. About Hitman, have they released? Is that game have all the episodes been released for that?
I think the final one just came out. I saw something earlier today saying like the full season's now available. So I think all the episodes are out now, but don't quote me on that.
I'd like to pick that up at some point. There's just so much shit coming out that I want to play that
There's
I
so much stuff coming out.
fucking shit coming out.
Please delay more games, industry.
Yeah, it's like I can't even get upset. I can't even get upset at game delays anymore because
I'm like, thank God.
I know, like they said, we're pushing everything back. Thank you. Yes, good.
Can you imagine if Horizon Zero Dawn was out this fall too?
No.
Oh God, no.
I can't. Like if Horizon and Final Fantasy 15 came out,
and Mass Effect was supposed to be out too.
Yeah,
like,
Mass Effect.
Can you imagine that shit? If like Final Fantasy 15 and Mass Effect came out within 2 weeks of each other? Like,
oh my God!
How do you do that? There's no fucking way.
There's 10 other months in the year. Just use them.
So anyway, Rand, what are you playing this week?
Well, I played Game of the Year 2016.
So you
Overwatch is pretty good.
Yeah. Dark Souls 3 is amazing, dude. Tell me more about it.
No, it's all about that. It's all about that horse racing 2016, bro.
Did you get the 1,000 out of 1,000 at least?
Okay, I saw you post something about this on Twitter. You're gonna have to explain this.
It's a shitty game made by a shitty developer.
Is it like
it looks like an early PS2 game.
Is it like Soda Pro?
better than Soda Drinker Pro.
Oh shit!
But it's also $30, which they have the balls to charge $30
That's a lot
for
of money.
something I beat in an hour and a half.
Wow.
Wow.
So just imagine an early PS2 looking game where you ride a horse like the Kentucky Derby and you just go around in a circle and you beat the whole game in an hour and a half.
Tell me you have something about this on YouTube.
Of course.
Oh, I gotta have to watch this as soon as.
Of course. Nah, but other than that, I probably put about 30 hours into Battlefield 1.
Sheesh.
Oh
What are
wow.
your thoughts?
Nice.
What are your thoughts on the campaign? I'm interested.
I thought the campaign got better as it went. I thought the first two were kind of slow after that amazing prologue where it was like you die and then you beat somebody else. I thought that was really
incredible.
cool. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, how are they going to keep that up for the entire rest of the game? But they
don't.
didn't. So
Answer.
kind of goes out the window. And then
Nope.
I don't know, like the first actual true war story wasn't a lot of fun, mainly because you were just in the tank the whole time.
Yeah, I agree.
You're in the tank, and then when you're out of the tank, you just do stealth missions, but the stealth in that game is not good enough.
Agreed.
That's
So it's like, okay, that's the thing I hate.
It's
If
a little unreal.
if you're making like if you're not making a stealth game, don't do stealth levels, please. Developers,
yeah, it's very simple.
play to your strengths. Battlefield strengths is pretty good, like chaotic combat with some really good set pieces. Like play to that. Don't be like sneaking around. Oh man, I had such a hard time with the stealth, especially trying to do all the challenges on hard.
Susan has Gabe's dog. Give it back to Gabe. Anyway, Grant, continue.
Her dog is much
But
cuter. and less scary.
I got to that fourth one where you're literally RoboCop walking up a hill.
Oh God, were you wearing
Yeah, in Italy.
when you're wearing the Dark Souls armor?
I was
What?
like, wait a minute, they had miniguns?
What?
Is this Terminator 2? Like while you're walking up the hill?
Go
Like
now.
invincible? That's when the fun for me started kicking in. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. I know it's ridiculous, but I'm having fun. And then I don't know, I really liked the last two. The Lawrence Arabia stuff was cool.
I feel like Zara's campaign was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I think they were kind of hamstrung by the fact that they wanted to do 6 distinct stories and not like an overarching storyline.
So, Rand, having said that, let me ask you this: do you feel like the campaign would have been better served by focusing on one character and just having a full-fledged?
No, because
hours?
we've seen what happens when they do that. It's called Battlefield 3 and 4. Do you remember what the story was in Battlefield 4?
Nope.
Nobody does. So I actually think
Well,
this is
I mean,
I remember the first
the
level
wolf has
where
to
you, like,
chew off his own leg or whatever. That's all.
because at least like when you talk about it with people, you can be like, yeah, I like the level where you were RoboCop, or I like the level where you're in the plane, or I like the level where you're in the tank. They have like distinct elements that you could actually talk about. Whereas like, hey, Brandon, what did you do in Battlefield 3? What was the story? Who were you? And you're just gonna sit there and just be like, I don't know.
I actually have no idea what the story about
Exactly.
is.
Nobody knows because they're just so
Absolutely no clue.
generic.
Yeah, no, there was. I remember
Yo,
Call of
what
Duty.
about
stories
Bad
way
Company
better than-
though?
Bad
Bad
Company,
Company-
that's the pinnacle of DICE right there. Bad Company
Absolutely.
1 and 2. Because they're funny. There's humor in that game. And you
Yeah.
remember the characters, and it's a shame they won't ever go back to the series for whatever reason.
Well, even the packaging of Bad Company, like I remember it. The reason I picked it up is because it had a grenade with a
With
smiling.
the happy face.
That-
Yeah.
that-
That was.
Yeah.
I was like,
badass
I have to
packaging.
buy that. I was like, I want to pick this up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Red.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, nobody really playing the campaign for Battlefield for the campaign. I mean, I was interested because I like playing campaigns, but everyone plays it for the multiplayer. And I had the same thing I think Jeff was talking about, or Flunky, where it was like the bullets and stuff. I think that's intentional. Like, I don't know how many
think so.
times I would have like a bolt action rifle, hit 3 or 4, or at least get 4 like hits. The guy would turn around and like one shot me.
That sounds stupid.
It's just
Yeah.
like, is this? I don't know if that's intentional, like because of the actual like weapons,
I
but
think it is, Rand, because that happens to me with support class, and I have a heavy machine gun.
Well, it
Absolutely.
happens to me with like I put like 2 bolt action rifle shots in somebody, and he's got like a machine gun, a little SMG from way far away, and it's like, okay, what's supposed to win here? Like medium
Man,
range.
like back in the old World War II Call of Duties, like one shot was a kill with a bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
Not with the M1, but with any other bolt action.
I just appreciate the fact that the utter chaosness that the game brings. Like when you can just hop in there, play operations with 5 of your friends, 32v32, and just no matter how good you are, you could be the best Battlefield player in the world, and your team will still lose because it's true to life. Like one person isn't going to win the battle. One person can win the battle in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But when you're playing Battlefield and it's 32 on 32, you could be the best player and your team could still get steamrolled.
Yeah.
Operations speaking of that, is a fantastic game mode. Still loving it.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the amalgamation of Conquest and Rush.
Yep.
Ooh, amalgamation. That's a good use of the word amalgamation. We appreciate the words. That's awesome. Okay, Rand, anything else?
I'm looking forward to playing Titanfall 2 tonight and finishing in 3 hours.
I've heard really good things about the campaign.
I've heard great things about the campaign. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that.
I want to play it.
Okay, Steve, the calmest man in video games. What are you playing this week?
Well, I've also been playing Battlefield 1, and I don't have as many complaints. Oh, it is Dave. It is Gabe's dog. It's fine. And it's not a single player game. I mean, Battlefield's not really meant for that. So I don't really understand the criticism because nobody was expecting a great story out of this game. And in fact,
I was, to be honest with you, but
I don't know. I think that was misinformed then, because the prologue, people got more out of that than they were expecting. And if anything, they deserve credit for that. And it may take a few more before they actually get it down, but this was entertaining enough. The multiplayer experience is a lot different than Call of Duty. The bullet drop and I guess just some of the sheer inaccuracy of the weapons kind of leave you guessing on a few shots. I agree with you, JT. I think that's exactly right. But for me, that's kind of been the best part. I think that unique style is something you can only get out of Battlefield games right now. So I've been playing Scout almost 100% of the time. And this is the first Battlefield that's gotten enough of the texturing right so that people don't see you right away when they run up on you.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can actually just lay there and wait for the wave to pass over, the squad to go by. Or maybe lob a grenade and see if you can get away with it. And that adds just a different element to these games that just, again, isn't in any of the other games.
Okay, Steve, I have to ask. I've got to call you out real quick.
What's up?
You're the only member of this podcast I actually hang out with outside of the podcast because we live close to each other.
That's right.
Why have you not asked me to play Battlefront with you? Or Battlefield? Why?
I've asked you to play Battlefront. I know that.
I feel dejected.
No one plays Battlefront anymore.
Yeah, I meant Battlefield. I just want you to know that I don't. That makes me sad. Anyway, keep going.
Actually, I tried to join JT's game the other day, or maybe last night when I saw him on. But exactly right. I couldn't get in there without the game freezing.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to play.
So it's Dice's fault.
JT when he's drunk. That's a whole other. That's a whole other thing. That was something else.
Definitely
Was that the gas ass stuff?
That was yeah. We're not even gonna go there.
If you want a good time, then you definitely want to play with me anytime, really. But Steve, you're talking about sniping. I typically don't play sniper in Battlefield games, but I've tried it a little bit in one, and to me, the sniping is harder because the bullet tracker does not go as far.
I think it was easier in the other ones because the target acquisition was so much better, or easier, I should say, because you could look down your scope and it doesn't matter if the guy's 500 meters away, he stands out in the terrain because the rest of in fact, easier to spot at longer distances because the rest of the textures would fade and then he'd still be standing out because you could just see the shape of a person on a mountain. It was ridiculous. With this one, you can kind of blend in a little bit more, and as long as you don't have somebody spawn on you and just start randomly firing in all directions, which happens every 5 minutes.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Then you're going to stay pretty well concealed. The bullet drop is still a factor, and then trying to cycle through, there are only those 3 distances on pretty much all the rifles, is a bit of a challenge, but once you get used to it, it's pretty good. Shooting people in motion seems to be a little more consistent in this one than in Battlefield 4. But as I spend more time with the game, they're going to balance out the weapons, which honestly do need some balancing, especially for the medic classes.
They also need more weapons. There's like 10 of them.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that Rand is. I mean, that's partially due to just the restrictions of technology at the time. I mean, there weren't a.
Really? Because I don't know. Like when I think Battlefield 1, I don't think of 40 people running around a map with automatic weapons.
Good point.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You know what? I bet you can buy some with.
I mean, even in
DLC.
World War II,
I'm
not
sure.
everybody had all automatic weapons. That
Yeah,
was World War II 30 years later.
And this one,
That's a
everybody
good point.
starts out with them.
Yeah.
Except the snipers. But Scout is pretty fun, and I'm a little bit pained by the spotting system. It takes like 3 or 4 clicks. I mean, I got it right on the
Are you
guy.
talking about with the binoculars? Yeah.
Well, even through the scope, just hitting R1, hitting R1, hitting R1. It's nonstop. But it's still a lot of fun, and it's a unique enough game that you know you're not going to get this anywhere else. And I think they got a lot of it right.
You know, I think my biggest complaint about Battlefield 1, and this is for everybody, and I'll just say this real quick, is that in the marketing leading up to the game, I thought that the game was going to focus on the Harlem Hellfighters, which was the first major African-American military unit that fought in a huge war for the United States. The pre-release materials kind of led me to believe that, and the packaging in the game kind of led me to believe that. And you only really encounter them in the very beginning of the game, in that amazing prologue. Which is why I feel like that's why I say I feel like the campaign is kind of a missed opportunity. I would have loved more focus on that group of individuals. Like if they'd taken the momentum of the prologue and stretched that even to do just like a 5-hour campaign focusing on one group, I thought that would have been amazing. But that's just kind of how I feel about it. Steve, anything else?
Well, to your point, I think they watered it down a little bit. There were discussions, I think in the spring, a few articles came out that said they were looking at not using World War I because they felt like not enough people would know about the history to be interested in it. And especially for their larger audience, they just expect really little from the younger generation.
That makes me so sad. World War I history is just fascinating in a really terrifying kind of way.
It could have been a good vehicle for it, but this may have been the compromise. So I would bet they had a lot of stuff queued up that just probably didn't make it in. And the little facts and stuff
you'll pay out the ass for it for DLC.
For entire nations in the DLC.
Yeah. The League of Nations DLC is going to be coming soon. Okay,
France.
anything else, Steve? France?
Well, I've been playing some FIFA, and that's pretty much it. France, just to even it out.
Who cares? We don't care about FIFA on this podcast. Enrique. All right, so we'll get into what Enrique's been playing. Then I will very briefly talk about what I've been playing, and we will launch into our topic tonight. And it's actually a topic relevant to Susan's line of work. So. Which is why I picked it. But Enrique, what have you been playing this week?
Well, like many of the panel here, I've been playing Battlefield 1. To Rand's point about the stealth gameplay in the game, it's pretty bad. I mean, you can pretty much walk up to like there was a couple times I walked up to a German soldier and he's like staring at me. I'm like, do something, and he doesn't do anything, and I just smack him in the head with a shovel and he's done.
Value.
Yeah, so that was good. I enjoy the campaign. I'm not going to get too much into the campaign because we've talked a lot about it, but I'm enjoying it so far. I like it. I was worried about in the beginning when we heard about it branching out into 4 different stories that might be a problem, but I like it. I think it's short and sweet, and it takes you to different places and allows you to play the game in different ways. So I like that. The multiplayer, like many of you guys talked about, with some of the issues with some of the weapons, I've experienced that too, but I'm having fun. I think Operations is great. Although I can't seem to find like enough people to play with like on a consistent basis that I know. So I usually end up playing with a bunch of randoms, and that's not a fun experience because no one talks.
I have a question for all you Battlefield people.
Good.
Because, and this goes to your point about how interesting the history of World War I is, and how it's not something you see in games a whole lot. And we were talking about, I'm never going to play Battlefield multiplayer. I'm just, no. But I would love the opportunity to play the single player, but I'm not going to pay $60 for a 5-hour campaign, right? And then all this game that I'm never going to touch. So let's say they did it a la carte. It's $20 for the campaign, $40 for multiplayer, $60 if you buy both. Would you guys buy one, the other, or both?
Oh,
I'd buy both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Susan, you can't wait. You could wait like half a year, and it'll be like on the EA Access, and you can play the whole thing for $5.
Well, sure, of course, and that's yeah. But I mean, it was just because the campaign is never the focal point for Battlefield, like you said. It's always about the multiplayer. But that doesn't mean that there isn't quality in there. So it's like either ditch it entirely and just go the straight multiplayer route, although that didn't really work well for Titanfall. But I just feel like they're leaving some customers on the table.
I
I
always
like
felt
that idea a lot, actually.
Yeah. So
You know what?
Yeah, I don't
Activision
take
actually did
options.
that with Call of Duty on PC. I know for Black Ops 2, I don't know if they kept doing it, but they did split up the multiplayer and the single player, I think, a couple Call of Duties ago.
Interesting.
That was the last one that I bought on PC, so I don't know if they still do that or not. Or
I
maybe
think-
it was just separate installs. I don't know. Maybe that was it. But I remember 2 different executables for each mode.
I mean, that'd be cool for certain games. Like, I would probably buy the single player of Call of Duty and not buy the multiplayer because I don't really
Right.
care for that. But
Yeah.
I just think game companies are greedy and would rather just make it multiplayer only and charge you $60.
Okay,
I don't
also
think-
true. If they can get away with charging you $60, they will.
Right. I mean, we've
Yeah.
already seen that. Battlefront, the original Titanfall, a bunch of
By the way,
early games this gen, they
That's
tried
not
to pull
greed,
them.
It's business.
It's business, yeah, but I mean, we're all old enough to know where we're last gen and the gens before we got fully featured, full single player, full co-op modes, full multiplayer for $60, and then this gen it was like, no, here's just a multiplayer for $60. It's like,
True.
wait a minute.
And now
I
they
feel
know
like
that
I'm
they can
getting
charge
half a
you
game.
another $40 and to play like 4 days early or whatever.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
don't hate me,
Season
but I did pay for Forza Horizon 3 and Gears $100 to play them both early, so you can hate on me all you want for that.
I just think you're nuts, but I mean, rock on with your bad self. If that, I like. Yeah,
Well, I mean, that's the great thing about game sharing is that I paid for Forza and my buddy paid for Gears. So when you actually work out the math, I only paid
Here's the
$50 for both games.
you're a grown man. It's your wallet. You game the way you want to. You spend the money that you want to, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of it.
Right, I
Well,
just know there's going to be a
well,
topic next year on this podcast where every single game is going to have a $100 version with 5-day early access, and everybody on this panel is going to blame me for. Because I bought.
You are the Doom 3 Steelbook.
You want
I
to play
do.
Dark Souls 4 a week early? Pay $150, and John's going to be like, "God damn it!"
I
man."
paid
They would do that.
$200. I'd pay $250 to play Dark Souls 4.
Dude,
Oh my God.
if I could pay $250 and be playing Persona 5 right now, I would do it.
That's what
I paid
That's what I-
$150 to play Bioshock 1 a week and a half early before any reviews had come out because it came out at Kmart. And it was probably the best gaming experience I ever had because here's a game that it was my favorite game of last gen. I paid $150 to play it early, and I had no idea what I was in for because none of the reviews had hit. So here I am,
how
like,
did
one of the-
How did you pay $150 to play Bioshock early?
One of my buddies, because Kmart, I don't know if you remember, Kmart had an
Oh, I
error and they
remember old
started
Kmart.
selling it right away as soon as they got it.
Oh, okay.
And my buddy bought 3 copies, and I paid him $150 to ship
alright.
it to me.
Okay.
So, but imagine me like getting Bioshock. None of the reviews are out, so I have no
Yeah.
idea what to expect from this game. And then it being one of the best games of last gen, like my mind was blown
That's
when
pretty
I was
great.
playing through that game. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so
That's
great.
amazing.
I think the
I-
news there is that Kmart still exists.
Yeah, right? I just don't want you guys to ask me how much I would pay to play Final Fantasy 15 right now because I'm not comfortable answering that question.
They have to pay me to play Final Fantasy
$200.
15.
to
At least none of you guys were the guy that paid like $1,700 to play
To
No
play-
Man's Sky.
No, oh my God.
He bought like a-
Oh,
I remember that.
bad.
Ouch.
So
Bad.
he got to the
It could
center of the
always be
universe in like
worse.
what 3-4 days or whatever it was.
yeah.
It was really fast, yeah.
Imagine. I can,
I
maybe
hope
that's
he's
why.
doing okay. I hope he's all right. I hope he's fine.
Yeah, maybe that's why Sean Murray's disappeared because that guy spent this entire time hunting him down, looking for retribution. I paid $17,000 to play your fucking game early. Well, that's on you, dude.
Yeah, that's a poor life choice.
Yeah.
But I don't care if the
Very
game was
poor life
amazing. That's a poor life choice.
I want to real quick to Susan's point earlier about it's your money, spend it how you want. When you're married, it's not really my money anymore. So
Well,
I gotta
okay.
spend it how my wife wants.
it's you have to spend your money responsibly. Like your rent is paid, you have food, all of these things. After
Yes.
that, whatever, man.
I didn't spend much when I was cooking, but
And I don't think the point was lost either. It's a tough question to pose to the group. Like, hey, would you pay full price for this? And like everybody who's who cares enough about games to do a gaming podcast, we're all like resoundingly, yeah, of course I pay full price. You know, we're the guys paying for all of it. But I think it's an idea, especially for somebody like Battlefield. They can test the idea of this single player direction that they're going by putting out a smaller priced game for just the single player. I think it's a great idea.
And make it digital only.
Right.
You know, no physical copy.
And then you could do free-to-play weekends to try and pull them over to the multiplayer side if you wanted to. Or something like that. There's a lot of opportunity there.
That's a really good
Steve,
idea.
the marketing guru.
See, I'm telling you, every week,
Her idea.
Steve in his very calm voice, it's smooth like bourbon. He just drops these wisdom bombs at everybody.
Smooth
And
like bourbon.
we're all, hey, listen up. I want to tell you about game sharing and digital distribution, guys. So
Free-to-play weekends.
Don't give me credit for Susan's idea. It was a great idea.
Steve actually works nights as a sex phone operator. I don't know.
Where's Roach?
Right, 9:00 on Thursdays, actually.
I almost feel though in that $40, $20, I think you're undervaluing single player in that regard.
I wouldn't pay more.
It's
than
like you know.
Okay, but here's the thing. I was taking the base of 60 because I'm assuming I'm giving them way more credit than they deserve. Actually, let's keep the price at 60. I don't think it's fair to make it even 30-30 because I think you definitely get more value out of the multi. So that's why I went with 2040.
Well, agree. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, I'll let me talk about what I've been playing real quick this week, and then we'll launch into one of our topics for tonight, which I think is going to be a good one. It's going to be a lot of good conversation. But real quick, I've been playing Battlefield 1, just like everybody else, and it's been talked to death, so I won't get into it. I've been playing the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. What they did with the game is nothing short of wizardry. It looks beautiful. It's not quite a current gen game, but it looks. I mean, pull up a video of it next to Call of Duty Modern Warfare OG, and the difference is fucking striking. It is unbelievable how they've overhauled that game. It's more of a remake than it is a remaster.
It's definitely a remake. Yeah.
Yeah.
They redid like everything except the animations.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and you can still see that like the animations. Like I shot one guy and he like fell stiff as a board like off a building, and I was like, okay, well this is obviously. All right, and in that regard, the illusion was kind of broken, but still, it was great. And I probably I bought Infinite Warfare just to play Modern Warfare Remastered. And I probably fucking touched
the Infinite Warfare campaign might be really good though.
I mean, it might, but I'm sure I'll get to it eventually.
I don't care about COD multiplayer.
I expect nothing.
I'm with Jeff. I don't expect much.
I mean, it can't be worse than Black Ops 3.
It really can't. You know?
Someone bookmark this timestamp in this podcast.
No, don't.
It can't be worse than Black Ops 3.
It's not humanly possible.
Was the campaign that bad in Black Ops 3? I never played it.
Black Ops 3 was torture to play.
It was Steve and I co-opted that thing for Extra Life last year, and we wanted to Steve and I we considered rituals like mutual suicide. It was that bad.
Did you play it on realistic?
Yeah,
what's that?
I played
Did
on.
You play it on realistic?
No, we played it on normal.
Whoa!
No, I think it was higher than that.
Was it higher than that? Because we had those RoboCop enemies that we were dumping fucking clip after clip into. And I'm like, why won't you die like Austin Powers? I'm like,
it was terrible, dude.
Who was the celebrity that was in that game? Because we got Jon Snow and freaking Conor McGregor in this one. So
Maloney.
And then Train
the Law and Order guy or CSI, whatever.
Jon Snow. That just rolled off my tongue. Kit Harington. Yeah.
I saw an ad for Infinite Warfare to do with fucking Michael Phelps, and I'm like, why? The swimmer,
swimmer warm up thing they did at the Olympics.
Why is Michael Phelps in an Infinite Warfare commercial?
Why not?
But so I've been playing that, and I've been playing our review copy. We're getting review copies now of Yomawari Night Alone on Vita.
Oh, yeah.
So my reviews, I'm hoping my review goes up tonight. I'm going to be writing it while I'm waiting for fucking midnight hit so I can play Titanfall 2. Great fucking game. Just a wonderful game. You can clear the game in 2.5 hours. So it's great for multiple playthroughs. Really? It's an isometric 2D horror game.
But it's cute.
And it's cute, but it's also really, really unnerving. And It along with Lone Survivor, the director's cut, is a great example of how you don't need AAA production values to make an effective horror game. And as everybody who knows me knows, Lone Survivor is one of my favorite horror games of all time.
Man, you're killing me. I bought that twice. I think I have it on PS4 and Vita, and I just never got around to playing it.
Dude, you have to play Lone Survivor. It's amazing.
I watched one of the,
Games that
I don't
sits on
remember
my
which
Vita
trailer it was. I
screen.
watched one of the trailers, and it just like sold me on it. Just the atmosphere and the.
It is literally because Jasper Byrne, who designed the game, is a huge Silent Hill fan, a massive Silent Hill fan. In fact, he made a game called Soundless Mountain, which is kind of a riff on Silent Hill. But Lone Survivor is
Soundless
2D.
Mountain.
It's a 2D Silent Hill, and it's fucking amazing. And just like Silent Hill, just like Lone Survivor, Yomawari is best played in a dark room with a nice pair of cans on your ears. Because the sound design in this game is phenomenal, and it really helps sell the atmosphere. And the game itself has a good number of jump scares. It's not gonna it's not gonna keep you up at night or anything, but if you're playing by yourself in a room with headphones on, it's definitely very effective.
That's disappointing. I prefer like the creepier kind of horror than like the psychological, like the game is battling against you instead of like the I'm here, gotcha.
So Soma, Layers of Fear.
Oh, Soma's amazing. But no.
I've thought about Soma way too much since we played it.
Yeah,
It's that good.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
One of the best endings ever.
That ending, I thought about that ending for a month.
I'm still thinking about that
I
ending.
was pondering my humanity, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What am I really in the big scheme of things?"
I need to play that.
Soma's
So
amazing,
good.
but Yomawari, JT, it's got a psychological bent to it. It's just you and a little girl on a flashlight, and you're walking through the streets. And there are most of the creatures you see you can't see unless you shine your flashlight on them. So as something approaches, your heart starts beating, right? And the faster your heart beats, the less stamina you have to run away. So you can hide from enemies. And some of the creature designs in this game are fucking like very Lovecraftian and very, very terrifying.
Nice.
It's a great game. You guys know I hate numbered scores, but people love numbers, so I'm gonna give it a 9. It's a fantastic game, in my opinion. If you have a Vita and you're a fan of horror, especially if you're a fan of horror, it's a must play. It's a must play game. And
Real quick, since we're on horror and Vita and stuff, Susan, and I guess anybody else, have you played the Corpse Party games before?
I just downloaded Corpse Party on my 3DS
Okay,
this afternoon.
all right, cool. I'm interested to see what you think about it because I have the PSP games, but I kind of want to get the 3DS version too, just because of like the updated art sprites and stuff like that. It's like in 3D effects. So let me know how you like that. Because
Yeah,
I've heard those
I was
games
like-
are fantastic.
I just started reading the description of it, and I was like, okay, have to kill each other, and I'm downloading. Yeah, I mean, because Danganronpa is an absolute favorite of mine. Have you
Yes.
guys have
Internet
played this
high
yet?
five.
Boom! Internet high five! Yay!
Danganronpa is one of my favorite
So
things
good.
of all time.
So
Did you watch?
good.
Did you watch 3?
I did not. I did
Oh,
not.
you gotta watch
I know.
3.
I know. I have to.
one more thing.
It's so
one more
good.
thing.
It wraps. It's like a. Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we move to our topic about Yomawari is that it has one of the most visceral openings of any game I've ever played. And something happens and you're the cause of it. And all I'll say is I was like, I dropped my Vita. I was like, oh Jesus! I was like, holy shit! And there's a part very early in the game where somebody tells you, close your eyes and hide. No matter what you do, don't open them. No matter what. And I was like, all right. And that really set the tone for the game. So do yourself a favor, go and pick up Yomawari Not Alone for Vita.
Hold on, did it tell you to shut your eyes or the
No.
character to shut his
Somebody's
eyes?
telling the character to shut their eyes, because if you shut your eyes, you wouldn't be able to play the game. So you would kind of defeat the purpose.
I was saying, like, is it kind of like an oral experience, like where you're just like listening to things?
Yes, it is very much an oral experience.
Okay.
But I wouldn't recommend playing with your eyes closed either, because you'll probably die a lot. Okay.
Siphon.
So there's a few things I wanted us to talk about tonight, and since we have Susan on, one of the the big thing I wanted to talk about was, so if anybody here follows gaming news in the chat, like we all should be doing, like good gamers, we all know that Bethesda is no longer going to basically hand out review copies until the day before publishing. And there has been a lot of consternation about this on Twitter, on social media, on gaming websites, on YouTube channels. It is a controversial decision, and people have argued both the merits of and the merits against it. And seeing as how we
One thing
have,
I've been seeing a lot of is that people are very confused about the difference between what this is and a traditional day one embargo. Like,
yeah,
Right.
what used to be happening was that they would send the review copy like a week or so in advance, and they would have enough time to play the game and get the review written to publish on the day the game comes out. But now they're getting the game the day it comes out. Like, they have to write the review.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
well, since we have somebody who actually works for a gaming website and writes professional reviews, I thought we would not, and of course this is for the entire panel as well, but especially for Susan, I would like to get your take on, because I mean this directly affects your line of work.
It does.
So what was your reaction to this? And you know, without getting like, I know there's probably things you can't say, but
Not really.
Pete Hines, I'll have you know, Pete Hines listens to this podcast. So be very.
I'll have
Okay.
you know, Pete Hines is a dear friend of mine. Yeah. So here's the
Hi,
thing.
Pete.
I was very blasé about it when they said, okay, guess what? Nobody's getting review copies anymore until day of. It didn't really bother me because it was equal across the board. Like, okay, we now have the exact same problem that Polygon does, that Kotaku does, that IGN does, and we will all deal with it in our each own individual ways. It's a pain in the ass, but whatever. We'll deal with it. That's fine. I mean, okay. To be clear, I have thoughts about this as a consumer. I have thoughts about this as somebody trying to run a video game website. And they exist together because I'm the same person, but they're driven by different factors. So I was like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. Then found out that some YouTube folks had gotten early copies.
yeah.
So it's not actually everybody is being treated equally. And that does not go down well with me, perfectly honestly. I mean, here's the thing. We're not owed review copies, right? Like, they do not owe us that. A lot of people seem to feel like they do, like it's their obligation to get. It's not. They don't have to send us a review copy.
Yeah.
So we want them to, obviously, that we want to have time to play it in a timely manner. So we're not trying to cram it into 24 hours worth of playing, which we've all done, because that's better for our reader, right? Like, my obligation is to my reader, because here's the thing, $60 is a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help people spend that money so they feel good about it, so that when they go, like, yeah, okay, this is a game that is worth my money, they feel good about that entire experience. So I want to give them as much info as I can so that they can make the best decisions that they can. And obviously that's harder to do if you don't have the game in a timely fashion.
So, like, here's what is most confusing about me to the whole situation, or most confusing to me about the whole situation, and this is for everybody. Bethesda games generally don't review poorly. They generally review really well. Not you know, there's exceptions to every rule, but almost everything that Bethesda publishes is pretty good.
Usually over 80.
Pretty good to, yeah, at least
Your wife peeking in the background.
She's gonna murder me on camera.
I'm not the coffee you asked for. You know what? Fuck you.
Fair.
He deserves that. I'm glad someone said it.
Thanks.
Oh my,
Paul.
that was
Wow.
classic.
You look fantastic in those pants. Okay. Anyway,
That was classic.
Smooth.
yeah, that was great. But anyway, no. So, like, I mean, so I don't quite understand the rationale behind this, because they had to have known that they were going to catch some backlash, right? I mean,
course, yeah, they're not
it's not
like-
gonna be a pop. So why then? Like, I mean, they know. I mean, like Brandon said, I rarely see a Bethesda published game that gets lower than an 8. Rarely. Like, it doesn't happen often. So I don't understand the purpose behind this. I don't understand.
I don't
the
either.
reasoning for it.
I don't get it. I do not understand it. I can't imagine that Dishonored 2. I have played a very small slice of Dishonored 2. What I have played of it is more Dishonored.
Yeah.
And Dishonored was fucking awesome.
It
So
was my
I
favorite
can't
game.
imagine that Dishonored 2 is going to come out and just be terrible.
Didn't Dishonored 1 review like 91 or 92 on that?
Yeah, it was up there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes, it's great. It's a great game.
It was really well reviewed.
It's an awesome game. So why are they doing this? No idea.
I think
No
it'll.
idea.
I think it'll negatively affect the sales, and
No.
people may cringe at that. Let me make my point. People read reviews for a reason, and I do think it's to spend their money wisely. Some people will wait for the reviews, and like you said, these games review relatively highly. But as Phil Spencer said earlier in the month, and he got a lot of flack for it, some people just give bad scores to get clicks. And he was talking about Recore, and you could say, well, maybe Recore deserved the score it got. That's not really the point. The point is, if you don't let this go to the professionals who have credibility behind their ratings, you're going to get more people doing exactly what Phil was describing. And that might keep more people from spending the money.
I don't know though, man, and this is for everybody. Like, I mean, look at Destiny. Destiny. I mean, you know, when you look, I mean,
Most successful 7 out of 10 in history.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
Sure.
like Destiny has a 76 Metacritic. I checked. It has a 76.
And it was
average on
lower
Metacritic.
when it first came out. It went up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is like one of the biggest games of all time. And routinely, if you look on Metacritic and you look at I feel, and Susan, I'd love to get your take on this. I feel like there's a growing gulf between what reviewers think of games and what your average everyday gamer thinks of games, because a lot of these review scores on Metacritic there's a huge gulf, like, you know, and so Steve, I got to disagree with you. I don't think that I think gamers are going to buy what they're going to buy, and I just don't. I don't understand I think reviewers are going to be more upset about this than gamers will. Because people are going to look at like Doom, for example. Doom, they didn't release review copies until the day it came out, and everybody's like, well, there it is. Doom fucking sucks. And it turned out to be one of the best first-person shooters I've played in years.
Ever.
It's my game of the year, Doom.
Ever.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but there was that moment there where you're like, well, is it gonna be good? Because if Bethesda thought the game was gonna be as good as it ended up being, why wouldn't they let reviews out a week beforehand? Why not build up the hype for that game? Like, whenever I see a publisher like try to do that, where like reviews will be the day of or the day after or whatever, I always think, well, they're not confident in their product. Because if you're confident in your product, reviews would be out ahead of time. So like the whole Doom situation was like, well, if they don't, it seems to me that they didn't have confidence in it, and it turned out to be a great game. And I'm sure Dishonored 2 will turn out to be a great game. So I'm not exactly sure what Bethesda's doing here, because their games are always, they always get reviewed. I mean, Fallout 4, I mean, I haven't played it, but judging from everybody who's talked about it, Fallout 4 is kind of mediocre, but still reviewed extremely well, right?
Sure. Yeah, same review score.
Do you think they're just setting a
Vegas.
precedent for whenever, like, if they do release, something, God forbid, something that's awful, that, people will expect them to get the codes at, this given time, and, it's like a standard thing, in the 5 years from now?
I honestly think we're probably overthinking this. I mean, Bethesda does what Bethesda feels like doing. Bethesda now has their own E3 press conference, right? Like Bethesda, they now have enough control over their own ecosystem that they don't really have to do what everybody else does, and they will still be monumentally successful. They're aware of this. They don't have to jack around with sending out review copies or, to these people, but not these people, and then these. They don't have to, and they know it.
They got Skyrim coming out tomorrow, which is guaranteed to make a fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I've already pre-ordered it. Like, I've got it right here. Sorry, honey.
I was playing it before the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I want to tell you.
Skyrim is back.
Wait,
man.
I thought you were playing.
I was fluctuating between. I was like, do I get Titanfall 2? Do I get Skyrim? And I was like, why not?
Why not both?
I've already given it a
this is-
0 just to prove my point.
What was that?
I've already given it a 0 just to prove my point.
Get that clickbait shit out of here.
Well, I got a couple thoughts. Like, I guess I don't know how much of this is true, but we have a lot of day one patches now, and I think maybe not having that pressure to get it out to reviewers like a week or two before now means that they can actually work on a patch right up until release day, rather
That's
than
a
kind of.
fantastic point.
There's been a few times, like I know No Man's Sky is not a great example, but that one, people got their hands on the game early and they were like, don't play this. Like the patch does all this stuff and it fixes all these things. I mean, the game ended up still being broken anyway. But Little Big Planet 3 also had a similar, I know IGN gave it kind of a middling review, and a lot of it was just because there was game-breaking technical bugs that were fixed in a patch, but they didn't have access to that patch and they reviewed it. And I think, not necessarily they're going to need to do this for every game, but it gives them the freedom to say, like, we now know that we can work on it up till the very minute it releases, and as long as that patch is ready, then it's all good.
I guarantee that's at least some small part of it, at least.
Yeah, and like
if Bethesda didn't make monumentally enormous games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, I would think that might be more of a thing. But an extra week ain't gonna help with Fallout bugs.
It takes them a year to get it working.
Exactly. There's still bugs in Skyrim, for God's sake. But here's the thing, with regard to when they come out with the next Elder Scrolls, that game does not need a review.
It doesn't need a review. Nope.
Next Fallout doesn't need a review.
Well, and it's like it's like when people say don't pre-order games. Like I totally get the sentiment, but I'm still going to pre-order fucking games. Like this. Like I've got Final Fantasy 15 pre-ordered. Like there's no way on
If you're going to buy the game on day one, just fucking pre-order it. Like
Well, that's kind of where I'm.
What's the difference between pre-ordering it or walking into GameStop on the day it comes out and buying it? It's the same
plus
shit.
if I pre-ordered it, I get
the costume.
Going back to what we said before, like, it's your money. So if you're confident in the product and you're going to like it, regardless of what people say, then go ahead and pre-order it. But if you don't like it, that's on you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You didn't wait to see what it was. You didn't wait to kind of get a consensus, to read a couple of opinions and get all the facts. If you're confident in it, go for it. If not, then wait. Like, it's
impatience tax.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a great point, yeah.
Yeah. With regard to what you were asking about Metacritic and whether reviewers are out of touch with gamers, I think you need to separate gamers, by which I mean the vast majority of people who play games, for whom games is an important part of their entertainment, and the type of people who score things on Metacritic.
Well, that's a good point. Like, all my friends that I go out and drink with and stuff, they all love Fallout 4. Like, you would never know that people didn't like Fallout 4, but then I go on the internet and go on Steam reviews or Metacritic user reviews or NeoGAF, and it's just like, this game is garbage, the game's broken, but nobody cares about frame rate that I talk to.
Fallout 4 has actually dropped to mixed reviews on Steam now.
Well,
unbelievable. It's a great game.
Well, what I mean by the gulf between gamers and reviewers is like, for example, people who are hardcore, like Susan, when somebody says, okay, there's slowdown in this area in Fallout 4 when you walk into the fog and it sucks, and the first person shooting isn't great, it doesn't handle well. I know, I'm like, yeah, I get what she's talking about. I see it. 90% of consumers are like, but open world, and they don't fucking care.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what I mean when I say there's a gulf between the vast majority of the gaming crowd and people who actually do this for a living, because when you play games for a living, you pick up things that other gamers might not.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. A review is not gospel truth, right? It is not capital T truth. What a good review is supposed to do is make it so you understand the experience of playing that game. So that, when you're playing Fallout, you're going to walk into an area and the graphics are going to kind of slow down or what have you. And then you, as the reader, you have to meet the review halfway. You have to do your part of the job. You have to take that information, understand what the experience, and go, do I care? Is slowdown going to bother me? Does it, do I care as a consumer that Recore has 3-minute loading times? A reviewer actually sat there with a stopwatch and timed it. 3 minutes before the match.
I saw YouTube videos. The one thing about Fallout 4 is, like, the frame rate really absolutely affected the gameplay to the point where if I was playing it on the PC, I guarantee I would not have used VATS as much as I did when I played it on PS4.
There is one area.
It was hard to aim at 15 frames a second.
There's one area. I played on a PS4. There was one area of Fallout 4, and you guys probably know what I'm talking about. It's where the fucking alien ship crashes. and there's a
It goes
hill.
down single digits.
There's a hill with fog on it, and when you walk through it, it's like clicking through a PowerPoint presentation.
The entire, literally the entire ending battle of Fallout 4 for me ran at like less than 20 frames
It
per
was
second.
garbage.
Like that big Call of Duty set piece battle that one of the endings has.
that had no business being in a Fallout game.
It was like less than 10 frames per second. I couldn't even move. All I could do was just go into VATS.
Well,
And-
you know,
I'd like
But
to meet a guy
doesn't
who
this whole
just played
thing-
Melee. I
Doesn't
wanna-
this whole thing with Bethesda only help themselves? I mean, I can't think of any
Yeah.
good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
but
It's
I mean,
definitely
it
good
doesn't like if you get a review out and a week before, and people talk about like with Recore, like the loading times and things like that, that probably had a negative impact. So when I look at this and I see Bethesda saying, "Hey, we're going to put out a game the day before, knowing that reviews won't be able to go live probably until the day after," and obviously, I think like the majority of game sales happen like the first week or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
big time.
Bethesda's only in it for themselves. And then this line, because I'm on their website reading this thing. It says right here, while we continue to work with the media streamers and YouTubers to support their coverage both before and after release, we want everyone, including those in the media, to experience our games at the same time.
That's what I don't like, man. I
But
don't
why?
like
That's
Susan.
the-
I don't
that's
like that
But
it's
why?
going to
But
YouTubers.
there's
Yeah.
but I mean, what's the like? Why? And what even makes them? I don't really care because I know what I like, so I buy what I want. But it really speaks volumes to like, hey, we won't give a copy to Games Radar. We won't get a copy to Polygon or IGN. Any of the
But
actual
they'll give it to
journalists.
fucking
But
Jack
hey,
Frags or
but
someone.
Boogie and all
Yeah,
these huge
Crazy
streamers
Joe.
will have the
I
game
don't
for
trust these
weeks
people. Like,
in
I don't-
advance.
this is
Because because they're
there's nobody
it's
watching
paid
out that they're
promotion.
doing the right thing.
Well,
There's
that's
nobody watching
that's
out.
exactly Which I mean, here's the thing.
So I don't.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying that's why I think Bethesda's just like straight up lying about all this, because in one breath they're saying they don't want professional reviewers to have it, but they want people on Twitch and their people's favorite YouTubers to have it early. So it's like,
Oh, they're not
what they-
lying. They're just.
well, I mean, they're not lying. They're just
not flat out saying we want to shape the message.
Yeah.
We want to
Yeah,
make
that's-
sure
that's
this
exactly
only
what
goes
I
to
mean.
people who
Yeah.
are going to say nice things about it.
Of course,
And-
you
I was
don't
gonna
want a
say,
reviewer
yeah, like
picking
the-
apart the frame rate or anything that might be wrong with your game. Yeah, that you want somebody
It's
who's
just-
like, this is everything that's good with the game. This
Right.
is awesome. Like, and then
They look
people
at the
who go
amount of
crazy
stuff-
and yell about it, like 90
Exactly.
of the people
It's,
do.
you know how like hip hop groups used to have like the hype man.
The hype man, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Hype
it is
man.
with
Like
Bethesda
Flavor
games.
Flav.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me more, though, because I mean, here's the thing: like, that's a savvy business decision. It's not particularly transparent, but I get it. That is a very good decision for Bethesda financially speaking. I get it. The thing that bugs me, though, and we'll have to see if this changes in future, bonuses for pre-orders. Like or discounts for pre-orders. Like if you pre-ordered Dishonored from Amazon, it was $12 cheaper. So you want me to pre-order the game, but I don't get the benefit of having a review before it comes out? That's not cool.
So, Susan, somebody in chat said, this really sums it up. Asan, who's actually, you guys know Miss Due in chat, he says Bethesda, unfortunately, is in a role where they've managed to garner an audience where they can do virtually anything and still get away with it. And that's true.
Pretty much, yeah. The larger gaming sphere doesn't. All they care is that
they're in that category
Skyrim
of,
is the
like-
game that all their friends are playing, so they are going to play Skyrim.
Rockstar and Valve are the only other companies that can do this.
Like they don't even
BioWare.
get to market
BioWare
their games.
And BioWare, yeah, I think
They could like
BioWare.
announce and release a game and just be like it's out, and people would just go buy it. They wouldn't need reviews. They wouldn't need demos. Nothing. Like they
and,
can do that.
and they know it. Bethesda knows it, and that's why they're doing it.
But here's the thing they're not dicks for knowing that, right? They're not
Oh, sure.
they're not wrong
Yeah.
for knowing they can game the system. It's a savvy business move. I mean it's I just hope consumers protect themselves appropriately. Like they make smart choices, do their due diligence. That's all I'm hoping for.
Well, let me ask you.
I think
go
gamers
ahead.
are a little bit better informed than a lot of other consumers. So I think it might work for a few cycles, but
You have to be because games are
you
more
have to be
expensive.
more reluctant.
Yeah.
If anything, I mean,
Right.
once you see these guys, hyping the game up on YouTube, you know what it is. I mean,
It's a lot easier to drop $10 for a shitty movie in a couple hours with your
Right.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know?
How long before this becomes industry standard though? Because like you saw, I think what was the rumor that Mafia 3 sold 3 million copies already, and that was
Did it really?
they didn't
That's
send out
pretty
review
good.
copies for
Jeez.
that.
Yeah, and
The
I've heard,
game's so broken too.
You know, and
I've heard that game is decidedly mediocre too.
Yeah, I've not.
right.
heard
I'm
great
just
things.
saying. I saw somebody who's been tweeting like the NPD stuff that rumors were that it was approaching 3 million, and that didn't have review copies. And you know, now with Bethesda doing this, where like Dishonored's probably going to sell. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how well the first one did, so I don't know how well the second one's going to
It
do.
was
But you're right,
couple-
Rockstar could do it. But I mean, look at Microsoft. Gears, they gave out Gears 2 weeks before the game came out. The weeks were like the review were like a week ahead of time. Forza
Yeah.
Horizon 3, I mean, reviewers had that 3 weeks before. Even Recore, I mean, how long before it's industry standard to be like reviews are? We'll give you a code the day before, the day of, and that's just the standard for the video game industry.
That's
It's
Because if
coming.
that becomes a standard, I think that's pretty. That's a pretty bad place.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Because
absolutely.
nowadays games are never finished on day one. They're
No.
never
And I
finished
think the-
because
the big
there's always a
the big companies can get away with it, but I actually think not handing out review copies would actually hurt the smaller ones, because I think when you have
Maybe the
the
word of
press
mouth.
embargo
Yeah.
ending on a certain day, you get that flood of reviews and you get that PR, and on your feed or on, you go to like IGN or something like that, and they've got like you see all these reviews, like, oh, this game's getting 9s and 9.5s and stuff like that, and maybe you hadn't heard about it before. But I know for me, a lot of times I'm like, oh shit, I never heard of this game, but now it's at like a 90 on OpenCritic. Like all of a sudden I'm kind of interested in it.
Something
and,
like Undertale. Like
Yeah,
I didn't even
exactly.
I didn't even hear of Undertale when it was in its Kickstarter phase.
Yeah, but
And then
what
it's
if-
just like everyone's talking about fucking Undertale. Oh my god.
But what if Phil like came to the realization that, hey, what if we had held Recore reviews until they like after the game
Until
came
after
out?
the patch,
Maybe
it
the
would've
game
gone-
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have gone
maybe the
completely
game would have
differently.
sold a lot better. Maybe like what if Sony realizes, hey, if we don't give review codes to Last Guardian, that game actually sells what it's supposed to, and like what if this people just because I'm sure there's two schools of thought. Like some is like if your game's really good, get the hype start early, get the reviews out there, show confidence in your product. But maybe that's the wrong move. Maybe video maybe we are sheep. I mean like John just said, maybe Mafia 3, mediocre game, no reviews, still sold 3 million copies apparently. Maybe that go for everything. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like this is kind of like it could be like the beginning of
look
the
at-
beginning of the end.
I'm sure there are some consumers that do wait, as Susan kind of prefaced this conversation with, do wait to find out how to spend their money wisely. And for those folks, they're still going to wait. So it's just a matter of when you want those folks to buy the game. And if you wait until a week in and you have everyone rating the game, you're not going to see a 9.5 as an industry standard across the board, unless the game's great. But if you had sent out advanced copies to 3 or 4 developers that appreciate a good game, they're not going to trash it for no reason. And so you may have a higher than average game going into, that hype train week of, hey, this game's going to come out. So it's how they want to play it.
Hold on, I'm confused. Are you saying the review score is higher if we get the game before it comes out?
Well, consider who it goes to. If it goes out before it goes to the general public, it goes to professionals who aren't going to give it a 0 or a 6 just to get clicks.
No, well, no. Yeah.
But so
Well,
that
are
in
you
that first
saying, like-
week or two, if
Are you
some
saying,
people
like,
are doing that, which they of course are, then that would drive the average down, and it may affect people's decisions. Because just like anything on Amazon, you can go and find somebody who put 1 star on it. But if you
Everything's
control the
10 or 0.
release,
There's very little in between.
Well, like
So-
2K Games only gave Civilization 6 to 4 outlets, right? Like early.
Yeah, that's fucking
I think I
insane.
read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you're saying, Steve? Like, you're picking and your sources wisely so that they, can kind of shape the image of your game that you want, or
one that you can trust at least, because you don't want it going to the general community for the first time and having somebody who's maybe on the fence about buying the game find that 0 rating or that 0 star, because they'll always be there to tell them not to buy the game. Whereas if you just did it a few weeks before, I mean, unless your game's really bad, it's not going to get a 0 from credible reporters or credible reviewers. They're just going to instead give it maybe a 6 or 7, which is damning enough. But I think time will tell whether or not people are really swayed by these reviews. And I tend to think there's going to be an audience that, of course, would be.
Well,
In our chat, Grizz and Kev
Yeah.
asked a relevant question to this point. He said, "So where do we derive how we handle where we get game reviews from? Like where do we draw the line for that?"
That burden is on you, the consumer.
it's on us.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, and that's the thing. Like, that's what I was going to say is, honestly, I mean, the reason Bethesda is doing this is because we let them do it. I mean, look at what happened with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a decidedly mediocre, if not below average game, right? But because we fucking
I love that game.
I don't mind that game
I
either.
unashamedly love that game.
I like it too.
I did not. I had fun with it for the first 30 hours, and I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But that's my fault. That's my fault.
But hold on. Think about what you just said. You had fun with that game for 30 hours.
I did.
That's worth
Absolutely.
$60.
Absolutely. But looking back on it, I can see flaws in the game.
Well, sure. You had
exactly.
fun with it for 30 hours. That's not a below average game, man.
Looking back on it, I don't remember it as fondly as I thought I did. But I guess my issue is this: is like Bethesda is looking at that, and they're looking at the overall review scores for games like No Man's Sky, and they're like, this game sold fucking millions of copies out the gate without a single review hitting. It just did it. And so why the fuck wouldn't we do this? Like we put Doom out, and it sold millions of fucking copies without a single review. No Man's Sky sold millions of copies without a single fucking review. Mafia 3 got by all accounts, and I haven't played it, but by all accounts, it's not a great game, and it sold It sold 3 million copies out the gate. So I mean, why wouldn't Bethesda do this, right? Like it's the same reason people tell you don't pre-order. And there's something to be said for that. I think like I mean and it's up to us, the consumers. If you don't want companies like Bethesda to do this, vote with your wallet and don't buy their games day one.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Wait for reviews. And Bethesda says as much. They're like, wait for the reviews to come out. Find a reviewer you trust. Wait for them to review it. See what they say.
I wonder how Bethesda's going to do when it's a new IP they're working with and not
Now, see,
a
that's
sequel
interesting.
to sequel to a beloved franchise like Doom or a sequel to a game like Dishonored. What are they going to do when Prey comes out?
Yep.
And because
all it takes is
one.
what it is. Good luck.
Yeah, all it takes is like a really, really shitty game for this whole system of the whole house of cards for Bethesda just to fall flat. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it works with Doom and Dishonored 2 and Skyrim because God, we all played that game back in 2011.
You know what? I have an answer for you, Rand. They're going to get PewDiePie to yell and scream at you and tell you how cool it is.
When what they should be doing is giving it to channels like SDGC and BRAP and TXR so we can give it a real scoop.
Games Radar.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't think 3 million.
But yeah, no, Games Radar's already getting all the review copies.
I mean, do you think I find it funny people were complaining about Skyrim codes? Like, guys, Skyrim came out 4 years ago. I mean, like, you played the game already.
Yeah, I don't know
about reviews for it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dishonored 2, I get because that. I mean, the thing I look at reviews for, not if people like it, is like, are there major glitches in the game? Are there major like frame rate problems? There major like just any sort of that stuff, and that's what I look for. And if everybody's like, "Hey, dude, Recore's got long load times," which it did, like, okay, maybe it's better to wait for a patch or maybe not get it right away, wait for a sale because, God, I mean, like games go. EA games after 2 weeks are like already half price half the time. This
is everybody freaking out. It's like, just wait 2 weeks.
But people don't want to wait because they want to be in the discussion right now. That people like when you're in the podcast, you're on Twitter, and everyone's talking about Battlefield 1. You want to feel included, so you got to buy the game and play it to get included. Yeah. You wait like a month. You wait a month. Everyone's like Battlefield 1. That was a month ago. We're all talking about freaking Dishonored 2 now.
Especially when you already pre-ordered the game.
Jeff is over there
like
this season.
Exactly what you mean.
I'm dying. Killing
but
me.
I mean, that's the thing now. It's like not peer pressure, but it's like you want to feel included. And if you can't talk about this game from your own experience, you're not. You feel it's a social kind of thing.
It's called fear of missing out.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
FOMO.
It's like
again,
you guys talking about Rocket League again. Like Rocket League was so. I don't know. Like it's a touchy subject. I know a lot of people out there wait for reviews, and I do buy a lot of games, but I never pre-order. Like I bought Titanfall 2 today because they're not getting my $60 more than the day before it comes out because I just don't care. Even though I know I'm getting all these games, I still won't buy until the day of.
I mean, yeah, it's the same way either way.
Well, you've got more willpower than I do because I've already pre-ordered.
You're gonna miss out on your costumes, dude. Your exclusive
Oh,
pre-order
God.
costumes.
I
You
have
can get for
never, I have
$250 a month
never,
after
I
launch.
can't think of a single pre-order bonus that has ever been like,
Yeah,
oh,
what
yeah,
is there-
cool. I'm glad I pre-ordered that.
I pre-order for Best Buy cash.
Well, that's
You
not
don't,
true.
you don't play
Some of the-
Atlas games, do you?
No, I don't. I don't.
Some of the Destiny pre-order like skins,
Oh yeah.
those sold for quite a lot of money. I had a buddy
Unbelievable.
who sold like the Advanced Warfare skin that came with it. If you pre-ordered Destiny and Advanced Warfare, he sold it for $300 on eBay.
Oof.
I mean, some of those skins can get
Wow.
like for what. I mean, that's not every case, but yeah, most pre-order stuff they're just fluff. They're useless. I mean,
Yeah, I remember the Battlefront one. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna get the limited edition and stuff, and it's like you don't even use that stuff.
Or, like,
anymore.
remember,
It's not
like-
even relevant.
Remember, like the pre-order missions for Batman Arkham Knight? It was like, why? I completely just wasted my time doing that.
But don't
like-
John, did you see the dichotomy in the release of Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2? Was like Battlefield 1's going with the tried and true season pass, but
Right.
Titanfall 2 is like, fuck, we're not doing no season
doing that
passes.
shit.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
Like,
that.
which
They're
is the
both
better,
EA
which is the
games.
better way?
I love that. I love that. That's why Respawn. That's why Titanfall 2 is going to be getting much more of my multiplayer time than Battlefield 1.
I mean, Battlefield Premium has always been one of the best values as far as like DLC goes.
It has, yeah.
They
I mean,
do
you get
give
a
more of the
ridiculous
content.
amount of
They give you,
content.
I
like-
won't buy Battlefield without premium anymore.
Do you-
Yeah.
I'm
Do you think you think it's possible we might moving in a direction of no more season passes? Because it looks like
Never.
Halo
No.
5, Gears 4, Uncharted 4, like all the big first party games don't seem to have season passes anymore. They seem to have
Because
monthly content.
it's because microtransactions.
I
are
know it's
becoming
got
more-
microtransactions, but I mean,
bigger.
as long as they don't affect the gameplay, I don't care about a little bird on my gun. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit? Give me
Neither
free
do I.
maps.
Anybody who can do that, Titanfall is the exception. Like they're gonna miss out on free money if they just give that stuff away. Like people have shown the willingness to spend that $40.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
let
but
me
why
tell you
not
about the
continue doing
$50.
it?
so you're saying Halo 5 would have made more money with the season pass or with the rec pack system? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't have an answer for that one. I can tell you this much.
Actually, you know what? Gears does have a season pass. Fuck, there goes my argument. Never mind.
They're probably going to make more off of the microtransactions. I think we brought up Rockstar pulled in like 500 million from GTA.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
I guarantee Blizzard's cleaning up on Overwatch too. with the
Oh my
microtransactions.
god.
They said like $1
Lord.
billion in revenue or something like that
it's
already.
Print
I-
money.
The Halloween skins will fund their company for like the
Yeah.
next 5 years.
The next
That's insane.
year.
And,
They can
there will
farm
be
all that
they'll,
out.
they'll make more money at Christmas. I guarantee.
And
they'll
you know
do a
what?
Christmas
Oh
sale.
my God, you're
That
right.
Mercy Witch skin is so sweet. They deserve every penny.
Did you?
They deserve
They
every
had this
penny.
Gears of War gear pack just for Halloween, and you can only buy it with real money.
And that's why
That
it's
sucks.
fucking garbage. And
That
that's
sucks.
why I love when Respawn tweeted out today. Do you remember when you bought a game and you got the whole game?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, thank you. That is the attitude.
It's
They're-
too bad
They're
it's too bad
going
nobody's
for
gonna
those
play
people
it,
that hate season passes, though. The disgruntled, older generation. They're targeting that demographic. They're going after that, obviously. But
Yeah.
that's a decision that I can respect that they've made and they're standing by. And so I'm probably going to buy that game now because of this decision. I will not be behind whenever I decide to jump in at a later date, like next year, January or something like that. If I buy that game, I'm going to have all the content. I'm not going to be like one content pack behind. And it's like, oh, everybody's already moved on to the new maps and new guns and stuff.
I think doing cosmetic microtransactions and free like actual content is a good way to do it. Like that's what Overwatch does. The maps are free, the characters are free, but you can buy fucking.
As
loot
long
boxes
as they
and
don't
skins.
create a competitive advantage, yes, I
Yeah.
would agree with that. Like Rocket League, they have season stuff too, and I've bought in a couple of those because I like the way that my boost looks now, and it creates like
I
a
like it.
ominous.
If you're
tone.
putting a lot of hours into the game, cosmetics
Yeah.
are a great thing.
Yeah,
JT,
and it's just another way to get already people that are invested in the game reinvested. They're already playing hours of that game, and so why not get your most dedicated players?
JT, I just want to point out I've always loved the way your boost looks, man.
Oh boy.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
But,
just
we're-
for you, John.
We're
I got a new import exotic boost now.
Oh jeez.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up because we're getting kind of long in the tooth. I know people got to go do other things. Real quick, I want to. What a great conversation! This is a great show. Susan, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was awesome having you on. And you are welcome to come back.
I would love to come back because y'all are actually like real smart and stuff and actual grown-ups.
It's mostly Steve.
She called me a grown up.
Yeah, just watch some of our older episodes. You might change your opinion. Or even better yet, play some Battlefield 1 with JT after he's had a few drinks, and you really might change.
Yeah.
Those tweets were so funny, by the way.
Yeah, all the smart stuff comes from Steve. But we appreciate that, and you are welcome back on whenever you want. You have an open door.
Thank you so much.
And Rand and Enrique, Rand, we'll start with you. Why don't you guys give some quick plugs?
not
All right.
everyone.
Okay.
Rand stepped away. So I'll go. So so I'm with Basement Radio OK Podcast. We podcast live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. John's actually one of our co-hosts, and we've had JT on, we've had Rand on a few times, and we got to get the rest of the crew here on. You guys, hey, open door policy for all you guys. You guys are always welcome to come on. But yeah, we just talk video games, much like you guys do here, and we don't get into kind of fanboy crazy stuff because that's not what we do. Just talk video games and have a good time doing it. So yeah, check us out. You can give me a follow on Twitter as well.
Son of a bitch.
Aries Gamer.
Jason Schreier just posted a fucking tweet of the Final Fantasy 15 home screen.
I just saw that too.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look as soon as we're done here.
yeah, he did.
It looks much better than the Final Fantasy 10 home screen.
Oh my god, it's
It
because
does. It does.
oh my god.
I looked at that and I was like,
I can't look at this. I can't see this. God, I love Final Fantasy.
That title
my
screen
God.
sold me on it more than like any of their demos.
It's a good looking It's a good
Have you
looking
seen the
title screen.
toast, dude?
The
toast?
best looking food.
Okay,
rendered
so you
in
know,
a
like,
video game
like
ever,
one
yeah.
of the things that like. you
Oh
cook.
yeah, the food. I thought you meant like what? They have like Final Fantasy.
No, like the in-game food is just
Yeah,
oh my
It's
god,
amazing. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
There are. All I gotta say is there's Tonberries in the game. That's
There should be.
Yeah. Well, no, like I saw my first picture of a Tonberry, and I was like, people in chat are like, this guy's such a fucking nerd.
He'll just walk up to you slowly and shank you.
Yeah, walk up, and he gets all nervous, and a tear appears over his stabs you with a knife. But Rand, are you there?
Nope.
He's not there. He does TXR podcast with a bunch of other Xbox guys on Monday night, and it's awesome. And they're really good guys for the Xbox community, and you should go check them out. There, I plugged the show for him.
Boom.
Real quick, just a quick reminder: next Wednesday we have our second episode, or next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have our second episode of the Support Class podcast for gamers with anxiety. We did our first one this past Monday, and it was difficult to talk about, but we had a lot of good conversation, got a lot out. Yeah, just if you're a gamer, or even if you're not a gamer, but of course if you're a gamer, you fucking listen to this podcast. So I don't know why I said that, but if you're a gamer and you watch us and you have anxiety, please come and talk to us about it. We want to. I have battled anxiety my entire life, severe generalized anxiety my entire life. I've been through therapy, I've tried medication, and I want to talk about it with you because you're not alone. So join us next Monday. We're doing 3 of these. So the second one is next Monday.
You know what, a little bit about that. I was a watcher for that one, and I really appreciate you putting that together. It kind of gave the show a real sense of community. We had several people who watch us, people, fans of the podcast, who came on and shared their stories, and it really felt like it was just a group of guys getting together to talk about their problems, and everything kind of melted away. And so I think it's really awesome, John, that you created an environment that we can come together and do something like that to talk about life's little problems. So it was really awesome to watch and be a part of.
I appreciate. Well, I mean, we're all a family, and we don't. That's why we say we don't have fans, because we're nobodies. We have friends, and everybody watching the podcast is our friend, and we like to take care of our friends. So. If you guys have anxiety and you want to talk about it, I've been through it all. We've all been through it all. So come on and talk to us. Come on the show.
Can I just even if you don't have anxiety, I would really, really encourage you to give it a watch, because one of the biggest issues that folks with mental health issues face is people who don't understand. It's really hard to explain because your brain literally doesn't work the same way.
Yeah.
So it's tough to get folks in your life, your colleagues, your friends, your family, to really understand what it is like to have anxiety, because the word gets tossed around a lot, and it's you're not just nervous. It's not what it is. It's a separate thing. So I would encourage people to educate themselves about what it's like by listening to folks who actually deal with it every day.
Like when I started going to the VA for help a couple of years ago, like my family learned more than I did. Like,
absolutely, yeah. My mom still doesn't quite understand. She says, "Oh,
Yep.
you just need to calm down," and I'm like, "Yeah,
You
I'll
just
calm
need
down."
a vacation.
Yeah, you just need to. You're too stressed out, honey. You need to calm down and eat some fruit. I'm like, okay. That's my mom's answer to everything is just have some fruit and calm down. I have no idea what that means.
Take a little bath.
Yeah.
Have an apple and calm down, honey, and call me tomorrow. But yes, so yeah, support class podcast next Monday. That's the second one. We're only doing 3. And after that, it'll be lost to the voids of time until I get anxious again. I don't want to talk about my problems. And then, of course, next week we have the social justice warrior himself, 9Volt, the battery child from Twitter, is going to be on the podcast.
Nice.
I am that's his first ever podcast appearance. So
That's going to be awesome.
So excited to have
We
62 Volt on.
We are a podcast at first. Shinobi 602 had his first podcast with us, and now 9Volt, and who knows what's next?
We've had other. Wasn't there at least one other person who had her first podcast?
There was one other person who had their first time with us, and I like to say that never mind. I'm not going to go.
No, I saw the thought forming in your head. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Everyone already knows what you're thinking anyway. It's all right.
Yeah. So I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway. So yeah, this has been episode 56 of the Super Deformed Gamescast. Next week you should be able to buy some of these.
Yeah, that is
Sweet.
so
There
nice.
you go. It's going to go on sale next week officially. There it is, right there. There's going to be different colors, different design.
Yeah, at least I don't
And
have an
so-
Overwatch T-shirt.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Get some. That's right.
You guys,
Starting-
you guys should all be getting paid for how hard you.
Yeah,
I'm
really,
trying to
Alex.
sell the podcast T-shirts, JT. Not the rock.
I'm proud. All
I'm
right.
trying to tell our fans that next week they'll be able to drape us over their bodies gently, and there it is, right there. Soon you can cover yourselves in our musk. So,
Oh my goodness.
Good lord.
all right. We're cutting it off here. We're getting off the rail. This has been episode 56 of the Super Deformed Gamescast, and as always, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, we will see you guys later. Keep on gaming.